most important part of writing a works cited citation is knowing what type of source that you're using. Now, today, we find 90% of the sources that we're going to use online. We find them in databases, we find them through libraries, we just find them on Google. And so it can be really tricky to figure out what type of source you're using when they all show up as web pages to you, because they're not all going to be web pages. So I think it's helpful to differentiate between the title of a source, the part that goes in quotation marks, and the container. I think it's helpful to visualize how this works outside of the internet. So I have some examples for you. Now, this is what we would consider an anthology or an edited collection, which means this is a collection of short stories. This comes out every year that has been put together by an editor. So you see the title is The Best American Short Stories of 2022, and it has an editor, Andrew Sean Greer. You can see right in here at the bottom, it says that he is the editor of this text. So he is not the author, he is the editor. Those are different. And then if I go to the contents page, you can see there are a number of different stories in there that all have different authors in them. Okay, now if I wanted to cite or write about a short story in this book, I would need to use the author of that short story. So let's just say, the first one, I would cite Leslie Blanco, A Ravishing Son. And A Ravishing Son is the title of my source. That's the specific part that I'm using. And then the title of this, the book, is the container. And then the editor is Andrew Sean Greer. So that's how it would work in an edited collection. So when you're citing a textbook out of your short story, you would do the same thing. You would cite the specific part, the author of that part, the author of the story. The story would be the title of your source, and the container would be the book itself. Now, another type of source you will see very often is a periodical. Typically a journal article or a scholarly article. And this can be confusing, the words article and journal for people. So I have another example for you. This is a copy of New Yorker magazine. The New Yorker is a periodical. A periodical is published periodically. That's all that means. It means that they put out new issues of the same text with different issues. They put out new editions of that on a regular basis. In this case, they come out every week. So when you're working with a periodical, in order to cite that, you have to, first of all, know what the volume and issue of that was, because there's going to be millions of different copies of that one text. There are lots of the New Yorkers, so I need to know what volume and issue that is. That's really important to me. But a periodical, similar to an edited collection, is going to have inside of it specific articles that are written by individual authors. So this one's written by Alex Barash. So if I wanted to use this in research, Alex Barash would be my author. This would be my source title, and my container would be the New Yorker. And I would include the volume and issue to know specifically which type of New Yorker that would be. Now, this is a popular periodical. A popular periodical is just a magazine. Okay. Now, thinking of a magazine, a scholarly periodical is the same thing, but for professors and academics. They are books or collections of different articles written by different people, and they are published on a regular basis. So the container is called the journal, and the article, or the specific source, that's the article that you would use. So when you're thinking of the container is the whole thing where you found it. And the specific title of the source is the specific part that you're using. So on the internet, is it a web page? Is it a website? Well, are you using a whole website? Unlikely. Or are you using a specific article that is part of a website, in which case the title of that part would be your source title and the website would be your container.